Today we're going to take one of the out-of-the-box Revit window tags and disassemble it a little bit. We're going to make it read with the type mark, which is standard for Windows, is the type mark, but we're going to add the window size behind that so it displays all of that information at the window location. The framers like to see this information at the window location. That way they don't have to look at the door and window schedules to find out what goes there. It's just much more convenient for them. And at the same time, the door and window suppliers like to have a list compiled of all the doors and windows on the project, and but they need to be able to refer back to the plan to find out which way the doors swing and whatnot. So that's where the type mark comes in. That's tied from the schedule to the actual doors and windows. So we're going to try to appease both those trades today, and I try to do little things like this to make my plans easier to read and more convenient for the people who are reading them. It just builds a much better reputation and always results in more work in the long run. So I try to do little things to make people happy, and the big picture is really nothing. It takes no time to do this, and once you do it, it's done forever. So if you get anything out of today's video, if you learn anything or enjoy it, I would love it if you would like and subscribe to the channel. And with all that said, we'll go ahead and get into Revit and get this done. Alright, here we are in Revit. We have our stock out-of-the-box window tags. So a quick note about window tags and door tags. Window tags are type marks. Door tags are marks. There's a big difference between the two. So a mark is specific to every individual door. A type mark is specific to the type. So you have these windows. There could be four. In this case, it's a 5050 XO. There may be 5 different windows, and B is going to indicate that there's 5 of those. They're all exactly the same. Doors are type marks, and as I said, individual references. Reason being is there are a lot of differences in doors. You have door swings, solid core doors, hollow core doors, interiors, exteriors. There's a lot of variables in doors, and that's why we want to list every single instance of the door to make sure that the right door goes to the exact location that it needs to go to. So if we go to our door and window schedule, you'll see that displayed. So there's 2 windows that are A's. They're 2040s. Shows the count, the operation, and that they're both tempered. The door schedule, on the other hand, there are, although there are a bunch of 2480s, the swings are going to be different. And we don't list those in the schedule. We just list the individual references and then the door type, of course. But the reason that we don't call out the right hand, left hand, or right hung, left hung on the doors is because there's a difference in the way companies see those. If you go to Home Depot, they will show a right hand or a right hinged door one way, and then you go to a different supplier and they see it as completely different. So we don't call that out at all. So anyway, so we're going to select our tag. We're going to go to Edit Family, and we're going to come in here. The first thing that I'm going to do, I'm not particularly fond of the lines, the hexagon around the text. So I'm just going to hover over one line, hit Tab. It's going to select all of them. I'm just going to delete that. Then I'm going to select our tag, and we're going to go over here to Label and Edit. And this is where we find our type mark. This is that field that Revit is drawing from. So I'm going to leave our type mark because I want to keep that, but I'm also going to add our family name, and that is right here. So I'm going to put that over on our list, and that's going to show type mark first, family name second, and I'm going to put a suffix on our type mark, which is just going to be a dash. So it'll say the letter A or letter whatever dash, and then the size of our window, because our family names are named, each type is named by the window itself. There are a lot of various ways that you could do this. You can add information to a variety of fields. There's type comments. You could use your width and your height of the actual window if you wanted to show that. There's a lot of different ways, but I'm choosing to use family name because I'm usually pretty careful about naming my families accurately in the way that I want them to display. So we're going to go ahead and click OK. And you can see that sample text that Revit puts in here for us. And the sample text is a little bit longer than we really need it to be. We could just put a sample that represents what our tag is actually going to look like, and go like that. That way we can see roughly what how it's gonna display. So that's that. And if you wanted to have a text box or some sort around this, some sort of a shape, you can select your lines here, drag that out, and this would be the same scenario as the hexagon that we deleted. Just all it is line work. Select that, delete. We're going to load this into the project, and this is another thing that you should know. So if you want your very own window tag to be able to save and to know that it's your own, then you'll save this as a different file. And if you just wanted to overwrite what's already in the project and not have a bunch of different families, you can just load in the project and close, and this will save it, and it will overwrite that existing tag. So I'm going to do it both ways so that you can see what that is. So I'm going to go save as family, and I'm just going to store this. I use my downloads folder as a junk folder. So I'm going to just name this window tag KM, save. So then I'll load it into the project. It's not going to ask me if I want to overwrite, and the reason being is because it's a new instance. It doesn't exist in the project whatsoever. So now that I have a new tag and the old tag, the existing tag, you can see that it's wanting to overwrite, tag the window. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select our existing window tag, then I'm going to hit SA, Sam and Adam on the keyboard, and that's going to select all the tags in the project, all the window tags. And here's my new tag in our list. So if I do that, that's going to change all our tags. And I just realized I made a mistake. I need to fix this real quick. So if I go to edit family, I chose the wrong field. I chose family name, and I want the type name is actually what I was looking for. So I'm going to load into the project and close. It's kind of a good thing this happened, because this is going to make something happen that I wanted to show you anyway. Load into the project and close. I'll go ahead and do this. So it's going to ask, do you want to save the changes to the window tag? When you say yes to this, we're going to say yes to overwriting that version that I saved in the downloads folder as my junk folder. If I were going to keep this, obviously, I would put it in a folder or a file on my main hard drive. So if I say yes, it's going to save it back to that location. Also going to load it into Revit. And when it does that, it's going to ask me, do I want to overwrite? Yes. And this is where it saves into the program. And there we go. So that gives us the look that I'm looking for. A lot of tradesmen, framers specifically, like to see the mark and the window size at the location. That way they're not having to look over and go through the schedule. It shows you exactly what needs to be there. So the one problem you see we have is that the tag is horizontal. It doesn't look right. It's running into the window. So we're going to select all these, and we're going to go over here, change this to vertical, and that's what we're looking for. So now I'm going to undo this, and I'm going to go back to the stock tag, and we're going to go to edit family. And again, this is just to show you if I were going to overwrite the existing family. Tab, delete. Change this real quick. Type name, dash. Just going to stretch that out. And now we're going to go ahead and load in the project. it's going to ask me if I want to overwrite it. And this is the difference here. When I say overwrite the existing version, all these are going to change. And there we go. So in short, it's a matter of preference how you want to handle things. A lot of the time I will edit whatever tag I need to edit and overwrite it so that it overwrites the tag in the drawing. And the reason for that is so that I don't end up with a bunch of different tags. I only have one window tag to deal with. That way it cuts down on all the confusion. And these same principles apply to any tag that you use in Revit. You can modify, make it, you can adjust the information, how it displays what you want to see, which fields. And as I mentioned earlier about all the fields that are actually in the family itself, when you go here, you have all these category parameters. There's you can find these in your geometry or in your families that you're working with. So in our case, we're working with windows. So you're going to find those fields either in here, over here on your properties palette, or in your type properties. For in our case, down here, this is the type mark, and then this is the field that we're also drawing from. In our case, is the type name, which is here. So if you wanted to change this, we'll use this one. Say I wanted to change that window and the way it displays. Say we change these to 2050s. It's already in use. I'll just do like a 5.5 just because. And then of course, if you did this, you would want to change the actual size of the window. You would want to make this 5.5 as well. You want to make sure that your name and that field match. And we're going to go OK. And you're going to see it change right there. There we have it. So that's it. Thanks for watching. One more time, if you would please like and subscribe, I'd appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next time. Thank you.